Hey guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Doug Hayward. This is 32 years ago. I started talking to Harper Creek football players. Used to be our meals were on Thursday night, now they're on Tuesday. So that was 32 years ago. So I did this for 30 years that I've been talking to Harper Creek. I took 2 years that I retired. I'm not sure if that's what you call it. And then Coach called me and said, no, you need to come back. So I've been back and I'm not going anywhere. So you're stuck with me for a long time. Last year we had a theme. You guys remember what it was? Even if. Even if was our theme last year. This year, our theme is going to be unexplainable. Back at the beginning of April, my dad passed away. I lost my dad. And my dad, at his funeral, I had people that I didn't even know come up to me and tell me stories about my dad that just I didn't know. Blew my mind. And later that next Sunday, I'm in church, and the lady that was speaking said, this is what it takes to live an unexplainable life. And she basically described my dad after everything that I'd heard at his funeral. So our theme this year is going to be unexplainable. You guys want to have an unexplainable year? In a good way? Like you want to look at something and say, man, we did some stuff this year that was just out of bounds unexplainable. Like you can't make this up. This is like a Hollywood movie unexplainable. You want to do that? Okay, we're going to look at some things that are going to make your life unexplainable. So when I was 14 years old, for the very first time in my life, my dad came up and said something to me that he'd never said to me in my entire life before I was 14 years old. And I'll tell you how he got this way. So my parents used to drop me off, my brother and I, off at my grandparents. Now, it's my dad's parents, and they were crazy, like in a good way, just nuts in a fun way. Anybody got grandparents that are just a little bit nuts? I have told my parents stories of what Grandma and Grandpa did with us, and they went, why'd we ever leave you with them? They were a little out there. And we were sitting in the living room one night, and my grandmother was after my grandpa. I don't know why. She had gotten up mad at him or something, but she was just absolutely berating the living daylights out of the man. And he was just trying to defend himself and saying, you know, all the sweet things you got to say as a man, trying to calm your wife down because she's really hot, and nothing was working. Everything he said, nothing worked. Finally, he said to her, he said, woman, don't you love me? And she said, I told you I loved you the day I married you. If something changes, I'll let you know. That's what she said. And I was going, what is that? And when I was 14 years old, my dad walked up to me and he looked me dead in the eye and he hugged me, which my dad did not do. And he told me he loved me. And it changed my life. My dad had never said that to me. And he knew he'd never said it. And he said, things are going to change. He said, I love you and things are going to change. And he was right. Things changed. So I want to read a verse for you out of What It Takes to Be Unexplainable. And in Romans 12:9 it says this. It says, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Now the word love here, in the English language, is horrible. Because you can talk a lot of love different ways. I can tell you I love my wife. I can tell you I love Coach. I can tell you I love coffee. I mean, I really love coffee. I can tell you all different kinds of love, and they don't mean the same thing. But in the Greek that this was written in, the Greeks were smart. They had different words for love. This love wasn't the way that a husband and wife love each other. This is a way that you actually give something, you care about somebody else. It's sacrificial. It costs you something. You care so much for the people around you that you're willing to let it cost you something. You're devoted. to them. You're devoted to their success. And if they mess up, you're devoted to them in failure. Because let's be honest, things don't always go perfect. If everything went perfect, every single offensive play you run would be a touchdown, wouldn't it? So every play isn't perfect, is it? So all you're doing is putting together a whole bunch of stuff that's not perfect, trying to get a perfect result, which is winning. In 32 years, I've seen one, on film, one perfect play. I've seen one. About 12 years ago, we were playing Lumen. We ran 33. Snapped the ball. Nobody touched our running back. He went 60 yards for a touchdown, but here's where the cool thing was. I was watching film with my son, and I stopped the film, and I said, look at the field. Is there a Lumen player on their feet? 11 Lumen players were on their butts. Not one Lumen player was standing. Not one. And our running back went 60 yards for a touchdown. That was a perfect play. But it took a whole lot of imperfect to get to the point where they could run a perfect play. So you have to be willing to make that sacrifice. There's a lot of things, but here's the second thing about this, and here's where the thing. You've got to be willing to love hard. You've got to be willing to love hard. There is a lot of stuff out there, and you'll look at it and it'll say you need to have a goal. Get yourself a goal. That's the first thing you need to do to be successful. Get yourself a goal. I'm here to tell you the thing that you need to do is you need to love. You need to figure that out first. You got to figure out who you care about around you. The more you guys can care about each other, the more successful you're going to be out there. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to translate out on that field how much you care. But here's the other thing in here. It says something in the middle that's interesting. It says, hate what is evil. Hate. It says hate. Now we're good people. We don't hate. Oh, we don't do that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. See, we shy away from that word and we shouldn't. And this is the other thing where the Greek's really cool. There's a word for hate. The word is stugio. Stugio, it means hate. It means I don't like that. This is not that word. This is apostugio. The word it uses here is you detest and loathe everything about it. You hate it. You can't stand it. It makes you angry. You want it away from you. After my dad had this moment with me, not too many months after that, my dad gets a phone call early on a Saturday morning. It's my uncle who's a cop. And he says, you know what? I need you to bring the boys, my brother and I was a freshman in high school. It was in the fall. Need to bring them out to my house. He lived out in Dansville on a road that curves all over the place. In fact, it's called Dead Man's Curves. There's all these big, huge oak trees that the road winds around. And he said, somebody had an accident last night. They were out drinking and driving. And he said, if you want to teach your boys what happens when you drink and drive, you want to drive the message home, bring them out to my house because it happened just down the street from my house. So early in the morning, my dad gets my brother and I up, gets us in the car, and we drive there. And we get there, and as we're pulling up to the accident, they had taken care of the bodies. There were 4 kids in the car. I look at the rear bumper, and the bumper sticker's on the rear bumper, and I'm like, Dad, that's Steve, our neighbor. That's Steve's car. They had hit that tree so hard, going so fast. All 4 kids in the car were drunk. His girlfriend, that was a junior in high school, was in the passenger side. She took that oak tree face first, right through the windshield. He was ejected through the windshield. Steve Miller, who was in 9th grade, he was a classmate of mine. He was in the back seat, and he was so busted up, he lasted 3 days and died in the hospital. The girl, Regina, somehow, she survived. When I was a sophomore, she had gotten healed up enough from the accident, and she came back to school, and they called me down to the office. And they said, would you just kind of be Regina's, walk her around, get her to her classes. She's a little shook. She just had some mental things going on. And we're walking down the hall, empty hallway, and somebody opened the classroom door, and I swear she jumped like a cat that was scared for her life. And I was just like, Regina, it's okay. It's just a door. It's fine. And I spent a week just getting her to her classes and making sure she was okay. I swore I would never drink. I have never, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with alcohol, but when you abuse it, it's bad. I have never to this day had a drink in my adult life. Have not had one. Have not had an alcoholic beverage, not once. Would you say that's unexplainable in this culture? How many other people you know never had a drink? I haven't. You know who else hadn't? My dad. My dad never had. But I decided I was going to be the designated driver. I was going to be the person that kept my friends safe. I've gotten a lot of calls at 2 in the morning. Go pick people up. Even as an adult, I've gotten calls from kids. Man, I'm messed up. I shouldn't be behind the wheel. Come get me. No judgment, man. I'll save you. I'll come get you. I don't want you driving. You want to know why? Because I hate what the abuse of alcohol did to my friends. I hate what it did to Regina. Hate it. And I will do anything to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. So when you love hard, but you've got to know what you're against. And you've got to know the choices that you're against. And you got to choose good things. Cling to what's good. You know what's going to be good when you go out on that field? You play like brothers. You cheer each other on. You encourage each other. Doesn't matter. Win or lose, fail, you miss a block, miss a tackle, something happens. Who's going to be there encouraging? Are you going to be that person encouraging them? It's real easy to encourage somebody when they score a touchdown. Everybody runs down all excited. What happens when somebody makes a mistake? Are you going to be that teammate that steps up and says, hey, it's all right, we got your back, we got this? You going to be that teammate? Are you going to love that hard? You love this team that hard, I'm telling you, you'll have an unexplainable season. And we're going to talk about having an unexplainable life this year. Cash, you are up. Hey, Mac. How you doing? I'm doing good. They're not joining. Oh. Amen. Oh, shoot. I got to grab my water.